And my part didn't have hardly any lines. And so I said to Roger, I said, I don't know how I would play this part. I have no idea. Expecting him to say, thank you very much, next. And Roger said, well, I don't know how you can play this part either. So let's just find out together. And we did. We really developed it. One wonderful things about Sarah was that she was not glued to the script, so it couldn't be enlarged or changed. As we developed the script, I said to her, I know you've written it as a French maid, but it would be funnier if she was a German maid pretending to be a French maid. and she said, oh, yes, that's a wonderful idea. And she was very open to the work, to developing the work, and we did develop as we went along. And she said to me, toward the end, she said, now I know what it means to say there are no small parts. And she was very, I just want to add personally, there was a loving spirit behind her. She was generous, she was gracious, she was kind. Because of our work relationship, you know, when you work on a play together, you develop it and you go, you feel like you're part of a family. And that sense of family continued after the play closed. So I got to spend more time with Roger and Sarah, and I was invited to their home for dinners, and the most magnificent Thanksgiving dinners I've ever had. She was gracious with her food. She was generous with her food. She had everything for everybody, from ham to turkey to whatever, to meatloaf to vegetarian. I mean, it was like she must have spent days and days on this preparation. It was shared with love, with lots of people there, and so there was a generosity, a kindness, a love, talent that not only did she start as an operatic singer, but she went and extended her talent into so many other areas, playwriting and writing books and writing photography with this wonderful opinion. So she was what do you call a plus in your life, a big plus. And part of her will always be with me. You know, you can learn from people that are better than you are in many ways. You can add that onto your life. It's like osmosis. You let it filter into your pores, and you say, oh, this is a very generous, wonderful thing. Maybe I can be more generous. Maybe I can be more kinder. Maybe I can be more open in some ways. And that was Sarah. She was that little muse.
Doing all right.
Well, I second everything that Tanya has given us about the generosity and kindness and making everyone a member. You step through the doors of the Simon household and you're instant family. But I think of Sarah and having had the opportunity to direct one of her plays, and then through Daniel Simon, who taught me so much about directing, I must say, we found a place down in Chelsea Market, and we shot a film there, Sarah's film down there. But when I think of Sarah, I just think of a true artist in every way. That's how she inspires me. And she inspires me from knowing her children for so long. I mean, since they were kids, I watched Noah, and the artistry that he had. He and my son, they were, I remember the comic books that you all used to get. That inspired me, right? Dan and and Abby, you know, their work. Abby, I mean, I by attending, I mean, her children. I mean, she still lives because her children are here, and they're all artists. I mean, I get inspired in my art of watching Abby. You know, I went everywhere to Chicago, everywhere to see this young woman, and Danny. You know, his work as an actor, as a director, and so the Simons are. She's still here, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm still inspired by her. I mean, the children have fed me. I mean, they have really fed me. Not only, I mean, Sarah, but there was an artistry to everything about her. You know, the way she prepared foods, and the way she would just her household. You know, I'd hear her. You know, waking up in the morning, she'd be at the piano. You know, before she started the writing every morning. She was at the piano, you know, and then she saved the green couch was there for me early on. I was there going back, and so I mean, she's still alive, and her children inspire me, just as my children inspire me as well, and it feeds me as an artist, and it was just such a joy, and continues to be a joy. Just, you know, she was my sister. She was my sister, as Roger is my brother, you know, since drama school. He was the first director. You weren't supposed to direct first-year students, but this rebel over here. And they all have that little bit of rebelliousness in them, which is great. You know, all this, the Simon children. Bless you. Bless you.
It's hard not to speak and to sort of resonate with what's already been said. I first met Sarah nearly 40 years ago when I showed up to Roger's class, which was being held in the Simon household, briefly on West 96th and then later on West 101st.
94th.
Or 94th, sorry. And we used to do scene studies class in the living room. And Sarah was known to me then primarily as the person who would come in and out every once in a while and make sure everybody was comfortable. And she was taking care of Noah at that time. And it was just instantly a feeling of family. And for many, many years I associated Sarah with this nurturing person, very much sort of the traditional notion of what a mother would be. Then I realized there was so much more, because not only was she great at nurturing, she was great at and putting her heart and soul into that. She was great at putting her heart and soul into everything she decided to do. And so she began flipping real estate during the early years in the 80s, when it was, you know, it was just one to another, and eventually upgraded all the way to a 17-room house in Montclair.
And there she is!
She's here. She started a catering business because she wanted to be able to do something with cooking, and she got great at that, and that became an extremely successful thing. And eventually I realized, well, not only is she an entrepreneur, but she's a wonderful artist. And one thing led to another, and over the years, as I came in and out, and realized that no matter how far I had been away from it, when I came back, I was always welcome and always part of the family. I realized that what really was special about Sarah was this indomitable spirit, this belief that if you decide to do something, you just put your mind to it, and you can do it, and you can do anything. And she believed that of herself, and she believed that of everyone around her, without discrimination. In that way, we were all, you know, siblings of hers. We were all children of hers in a way. And, you know, she always felt strongly that her children, as any mother does, were going to be great at what they did. And the difference here is that they are great at what they did. And the truth of the matter is that Sarah made us all greater than we could have been. Ultimately, when I discovered that she had gone on to writing novels, to plays, and then to novels, and that she was still looking for new horizons, I was inspired after taking 30 years off to come back to the theater and to work with her again on that wonderful play that we did in January. And my experience with that was extraordinary because Sarah was both open and interested and in every moment critical of everyone's work in the right way, but also incredibly supportive and ready always to accept the choice and to believe in whatever that choice was and to make it work. And it was an incredible collaborative opportunity, and I'll never forget it. So, thank you, Sarah.
I didn't prepare anything. I just thought I was going to read from her book. But I second what Bob said about how she believed in pursuing your dream 100%, and she gave that to me. I don't think that I would have had the career as an artist that I have if it weren't for her. I know that for sure. She was crazy. But she was a true artist, and she's passed that on to me, and I miss her. But I think there's a lot of things that she left that are inside me, and that I'm going to take and move forward. Hopefully, with my students or my children one day, and I feel her. She's there, and that's all I'm going to say.
I met Sarah about 4 years ago, so it's rather a recent arrival to the family. I had a broken ankle, and I was sitting around at a farm, and she just kind of stopped by, and we chatted, and we figured out that we're both writers, and we started exchanging books and read and commented on each other's work. And she was the one who said, after reading my book, Mihai, this is really a play, you know that? And I was pretty busy, and I said, really? And she said, yeah, you should make a play out of it. And I said, would you like you to do that? And she kind of got a little glimmer in her eyes, and she said, sure, I'll try that. And she took the book, and she made the first draft of the play, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. And then, for several years, we met and worked together, and what I remember of working with her is coming over to her place, to their place, and putting on coffee and cookies and dried fruits and chatting about learning Hebrew and Israel, and she was going to have a bat mitzvah, I think.
Yep. And
just chatting about things before we sat down and started reading over and over each. A play takes a long time to come, and many incarnations and many readings. So I'm incredibly grateful to this person I knew her as a playwright a little bit, but obviously she was so much more than that. And she gave me this. She gave me the theater, and I'm really grateful for that. Thank you.
So, my mom, and we already had a funeral, so, but I guess as artists, we think about like what motivated her. And she was a fighter. She just kept on fighting even when she lost. And she made a horrible mistake that hurt our family financially in the early 90s. And they didn't have any money. And the economy was bad, and we didn't have a home because it was destroyed. And she had trusted an architect who she thought was an artist, and he was But she never stopped fighting. That was 1990. It's 2017. She kept on supporting 3 kids. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be such a struggle, but she kept on going. And when I think about how they lost the money and the arrogance and how this guy completely just conned them and how he researched my parents to the point at which he understood how to manipulate them. It was the middle of the AIDS crisis. This guy comes in with paintings of pink and purple triangles. And I'm not political at that point, though I know you know me to be that way now, but I wasn't political. And I saw this abstract pink and purple triangles, I'm like, that's crap! And I didn't know that pink and purple had something to do with gay rights at all. And my mother just like, oh no, you're a bore, you know? And, you know, this architect figured out exactly how to turn our family against each other. That, you know, that was the first time, I think, in my mother's eyes that I was not going to be her idealistic, bohemian, groundbreaking, I don't know, Martin Luther King Jr., that I just wasn't that. I wasn't going to be that for her. And she just tore me apart in front of this architect that turned around and said, young man, when I was 16 years old, I had already built my first house. And we just conned them. But she wrote a screenplay about that architect. Okay, yeah, I'm done. Yeah, Dan, your turn.
After my mother passed, people said to me, and I thought they were, at the time, they were being nice. They said, well, your mother always lives because her kids are around. And I thought that was kind of trite and whatever. But it's kind of true. I recently finished a screenplay, and I read it over recently, and I swear she wrote it. You think you have your own voice, but you're also an amalgam of your parents in many ways, in your sensibilities and in your taste and in your views. And you don't really realize that until you're an adult. You think you're your own person, you know. And you are, but you are your parents. I'm a writer because of her. I was a terrible student, and the only way for her to get me to write was to make me write films, and this was in my early teens. So, you know, I'll be grateful for the rest of my life. And I don't know what else there is to say. You know, I owe her a lot, and I really hope that people get to enjoy her work. And she left me with that responsibility, actually. So I take it seriously. She said, make sure my stuff is safe, because I don't trust your father. Anyway, so I take that responsibility very seriously, and I really hope that people get to read this, because I think it's a beautiful book.
Yes. We have only a half hour because they closed at 7. But I really would like to see all of you upstairs. There's so many of you that have also stories and have worked with Sarah, and will share a lot of that, not only upstairs, but on and on. The book is upstairs for those who want it. Got a little autograph for you. Please come, enjoy. see you upstairs. I only ask that we get out as soon as we can. Thank you.
Rachel Sage. Very nice to meet you. She danced in my video. I'm like 16. I went to SAB too.
You went to SAB?
Yeah.
With
Very nice
Macaulay
to meet
Culkin?
you. I guess so. He wasn't there when I was there, but
You look like your cousin.
yeah, maybe I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russian Jews. You never know.
I
It would explain a lot of why we get along so well.
Well, you look like my cousin.
Very nice to meet you, Noah.
Yeah. What's your name, Kate Sage?
Rachel Sage.
Rachel Sage. Nice to meet you. Okay. All right.